Hi, how are you doing?
Doing good.
That's good. We're just going to ask you a few questions. And so, do you think hurriedness is a problem in our culture?
I do. I feel like everyone is always in a rush to get to the next thing. Yeah.
How do you think that goes along with the teachings of Jesus?
I don't really know what he says about that kind of stuff actually, but I know I've heard Ron Capico talk about how we shouldn't be in a rush to get everywhere. We should just enjoy things. So I don't know if that answers your question or not.
It's about what you think.
Okay.
Do you feel like this is a problem in your life?
Definitely. Yeah. I'm always on the go, power walking everywhere, trying to get to the next thing, but I don't know. I think when people do that, they're more focused on the end result. They just got to get through this to get to the next step. I think that's part of the problem.
What do you think we lose when doing that?
I think we miss out on all the little things. Not to sound cheesy or anything, but those little moments, if I wasn't so worried about getting to my next class or something, I wouldn't miss some things in between there. I don't know how to explain that.
No, that makes perfect sense. How do you, what are ways you think you could solve that in your life?
I guess, I don't know, in my life, because I procrastinate all the time, I'm always just going and going, so maybe just doing things ahead of time, or taking my time to do things, or, I don't know, allowing myself enough time to do things, I guess, would be a good way to not do that.
Oh, that's great. Thank you for giving us a few
You're
minutes of your time. Hi.
Bye.
Hi, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
Good.
We're just going to ask you a few questions for an interview. The first question is, do you feel like hurriedness is a problem in our culture?
Yes, I do. And I say that from firsthand experience. I know that oftentimes when I get really wrapped up in, doing homework, making it to meetings, making it to my internship, that my physical, mental, and spiritual health seem to decline. So, and I'm sure that's relatable to, pretty much anyone in our culture. So yeah, I think it is an issue.
What do you think you miss out on when you're so hurried in life?
I really think that you miss out on the small things. You're rushing to a class and you might miss a flower blooming or a bird in the sky, which sounds really cliche and stupid, but when you're constantly on the go and you don't take time to notice the world around you, you're always thinking one step ahead, and you miss out on the present, you miss out on the people and things going on around you now. And I think it's really important that we slow down and take the time to reflect on what is going on in our lives.
How do you think this would have fit in with the teachings of Jesus?
Well, I think Jesus was a perfect example of not being hurried. Aside from the fact that, the technology wasn't necessarily readily available that we have, because there's so many distractions in our culture right now. But he intentionally walked places to, spend time with his disciples or think, reflect, and pray. He spent 40 days out in the desert, just to be with God in like a cleansing process. You tell someone to go out in solitude for 40 days now, and they're going to laugh at you. And so I think Jesus was like the perfect model of slowing down and not being in a hurry.
How do you think this can be cured in our culture and in your life?
Well, since I don't really see technology, going on a decline, I think it's just you have to be intentional about how you live your life and what you do with what you have. it sounds kind of weird, but sometimes I just need to set aside a time to live slower, to slow down, like personal time. I mean, some people might do this through devotion, some people might take a walk every day, but just take a section of your day and limit it or free it completely if you can from distractions. I think it would be just one step in moving that direction. I mean, to ask someone to completely change their life, you know, is a big deal, and it takes time, a step-by-step thing. So do what you can, and then if you can do that, keep pushing it a little more.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I'm glad I was in the library working on a paper, which is due in a couple hours, speaking of Russian life. Anyway, all right, Sarah,
All right.
take care. I'm going to walk away
Hi,
now.
how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Do you think hurriedness is a problem in our culture?
Oh, definitely, for sure. I feel like we try as a culture to pack as many things as we can into our day until we are like 90% of the way of like being blown out, and then that's what we run at.
What do you think you feel like you lose in your life by that?
Definitely like priorities of things, and like just I feel like our culture looks at numbers a lot of how many things we're doing opposed to the quality of things we're doing a lot. And like, you know, even back like 100 years ago, like people had one thing to do for the day and like would do that, and we have like 10 things to do for the day, so we don't focus as much attention as we need on them, I guess.
How do you think that goes with the teachings of Jesus in his life?
Well, one thing my friend Alex said, who's back there at the table, Jesus has a lot of things in his life, but he's never rushed or hurried. And like, he's distraught and he's like emotional about things, but he's never rushed or hurried. Like there's points where he gets in the boat and like to get away from people, you know, and he takes breaks and he takes a Sabbath. And I feel that, you know, being created in his image, we are to take breaks like he does. And yeah.
How do you think like that could be fixed in our culture in your life?
Well, that's the hard part, is like everybody's like, they procrastinate about like not being busy. So like I'll not be busy next week, but I think that it's an individual thing, not like a cultural thing. I'm just deciding what, you know, God wants you to focus on and what you really should be focused on, instead of the things that you can fill your schedule with. And it's just being intentional about it, because it's easy to say that you'll do it, but actually doing it is hard. And just, you know, it comes with prayer and stuff like that. So.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.